So these three are coming together in the future, I believe. Wireless, I guess, perhaps you know most about is really burgeoning. It's becoming more and more ubiquitous everywhere. The bandwidths people need, what they do on it, is exceeded what they're doing in wireline connections, connectivity. Computing is becoming a big part of it because everything is moving to the cloud. Even the infrastructure for wireless network, I think, is in for a revolution. It's going to look more like wireline networks. There'll be a lot of network function, virtualization, software-defined networking. So that part of the network will also start looking like the rest of the world and the rest of the world of computing. Health, in general, beyond medicine, is, as we know, there are tremendous pressures on cost containment there. And at the same time, there's a lot of innovation going on. And a lot of it is based on monitoring your health remotely, keeping costs down so you don't spend time in the hospital. The capabilities of those sensors is increasing over time. And it's an exciting area to make a direct impact on people's well-being. Yeah.
And within, my understanding is you have approximately 200 students within the program?
Yes, that's about right, across these three schools, the medical school, Courant, and NYU Polytechnic.
Okay. And how do you organize the center's curriculums or studies? Do you go deep into wireless, deep into computing, and deep into healthcare, or are they all fused into one?
So it's a combination. You know, people talk about the T of education. That is, you need to be deep in one area, and then you need to spread out to other areas and look at the connections between different disparate areas. So I think we are following that. We are assuming that everyone has deep knowledge in at least one of these three areas. And then we encourage collaboration between these three areas to see what they can do innovative across these three areas.
Can you give us some examples of some of the programs or tracks or theses that are coming out of the program?
So one which Ted Rappaport wrote a paper with one of his students is to look at the health effects of wireless. So since we are proposing to move to millimeter waves, one of the issues that will come up in everyone's minds is what happens if you take one of these millimeter wave cell phones and keep them close to your ears, and is that any more dangerous than the current spectrum that's used? So a student of his analyzed what would happen, how far these millimeter waves would penetrate into the under the human skin, what are the energy dissipation at different power levels, what would be considered safe. And so we work closely with the medical school to characterize it, and we have some initial results. Yeah.
And within healthcare, I know that certainly looks at the two of them, wireless and healthcare, but you also talk about other healthcare applications. Can you maybe give us some examples of some of the tracks or study programs your students are involved in, specifically around health? So
aspirationally, what we are also looking at is the operation theater. If you go to a typical operation going on, you'll see all kinds of wires. There's a spaghetti of wires everywhere. And the objective of wireless would be to replace those wires with wireless connectivity. This would make life a lot easier for the surgeons and their staff, because they would not be tripping over these wires, which is what happens quite often these days.
When you say operations, you're talking about in the operations room?
In the operations room, yes,
okay.
With all the monitoring of the person undergoing the operation, which takes up a lot of space, takes up a lot of wiring to set up and at this time. Okay. Now the challenge there, of course, is to make whatever replaces the wiring at least as reliable as what it is replacing. So wireless has its well-known problems with interference and errors, so we are looking at those aspects as well.
Okay.